Welcome to our YouTube show, Awakening with Nirmann. I am Sadhana.
Hi.
Today we will talk about 7 dimensions of Zoda. Nirmann is with us. Namaste.
Namaste, Sadhana. How are you?
I'm good. Zoda is entirely inspiration of Nirmann, message and inspiration of Nirmann. Doesn't belong to any religious practice, cult or sect, and our intentions are not to hurt any social or cultural values or religious belief. So we will discuss today 7 dimensions of Zoda. And then there is a beautiful sign which shows 7 dimensions of Zoda.
Yeah, it's there on the website. It's everywhere in the book. Actually, it's on the cover of the book itself. So yeah, we can talk about it, Sadhana.
Yes.
Yeah. So I appreciate your taking the time. So first of all, thank you for arranging this. It's a beautiful setting. We are here near the Pacific Ocean, so really nice spot to talk about something.
I must say thank you to you because I have my fan club and people are desperately waiting for 7 dimensions to know 7 dimensions of Zoda.
Okay, so let's talk about it. 7 dimensions sadhana is, as I say, Zoda is all about complete freedom. So when you look at these 7 dimensions, all they really are 7 key areas of life that impact us. So since the whole idea of Zoda is living in the mainstream life, not running away, not renouncing, becoming a monk or running into the mountains and hiding in a cave, but living the mainstream life, but as a spiritual, beautiful being, which is completely independent and free. So let's talk about those 7 dimensions. The very first one is financial, because finances, believe it or not, are a part of life, and a lot of people get blocked by not having just the basic minimum to lead a decent life. So first realm we have to talk about is financial.
And you describe it in your book as
Zameen.
Zameen.
Now Zameen is a Urdu word, and Zameen means Zameen means material reality. So people talk about survival, having a roof on the top of your head, having the clothes and food to eat. If you don't have a roof over your head, or 2 square meals to eat, or just basic things like clothes, food, and a place to live, how can you think of freedom, or how can you think of spirituality if you're struggling for that? So we need to take that out of the equation. That's what financial freedom means, is where you can go past the day-to-day struggle around money. Okay?
So it's basic necessities.
Yeah,
fulfillment of basic necessities.
Yes, so it's not a certain quantity that I will tell you that you need X million dollars for freedom. Now it depends on what kind of lifestyle you lead and what you're comfortable with. The whole idea is to get freedom from being worried about the finances. So how can you manage your life in a way where you get that out of the equation?
So this is first dimension.
Very first, what Maslow might say, this is survival. The basic things. A lot of people unfortunately struggle with that. And if you become a part of the Zoda or Zoda trainings, then we teach you how you can achieve that freedom as well. So there's a lot of training, a lot of details in the trainings. There's in fact a whole chapter dedicated to this very topic. So since we are just introducing the topic, so that's the very first dimension.
Yes, and then later on we will go further, probe into each dimension and each episode.
Sure. Yes.
So the second one is
so you take care of the financial. The next level up is the physical. So the physical means your body, the physical body, the hardware, right? So you have to take care of the hardware, and if you are interested in fashion or a certain lifestyle, then that's great. If you're not, that's great too. But can we take care of our body in a way that it's not abused or exploited? So you are not abusing your body, but it's really temple of the soul. So you have to take care of your energy, manage your energy, so that whatever you are here to do, you have the energy and the stamina and the just general wellness, so to fulfill your mission. If your body is sick, then you cannot really fulfill your
course.
mission in life, because
Can
you'll
be
get
heavy.
stopped.
You'll be miserable.
You'll be miserable because your body's now. Certainly, not everybody. We as humans, our machine will go wrong. There'll be certain aspects of our health which may not be functioning 100%. But the idea is not to become 100%, fit. The idea is to have enough energy and that electricity, almost, what we call ojas in Sanskrit. Ojas means that really the whole prana, the chi, or that life force energy, how to save it, how do you energize it, how do you cultivate it so that you can use it towards your mission in life.
Yeah,
That's
so-
urja. This dimension is called urja, which is a Sanskrit term actually.
So is that the word you are describing in your book, the second dimension?
Yeah.
Urja.
Urja. Because
Urja.
urja means, really describes the sense of energy and the sense of charge, having
And
that charge.
So what is the origin of this word also?
Urja is actually described, if you look it up on Google, URJA or OORJA, the pronunciation is Urja. You will see things like, meanings like, and it's an ancient word, just like any other word in a certain language. This word comes closest to what I'm trying to say. So if you Google it or go to the internet and try to search it, you'll find meanings like energy, the charge, or electricity. So I'm not talking about fitness, muscles. Even though that's a part of it, I'm not against it. I love to gym and look good, stay fit. But the whole idea is not to be so tired, but to have that reservoir of energy inside you, so that you can fulfill your mission and everything else that you want to enjoy life. So you should have that charge. So what are the things you need to take care of, right? I mean, that answer is pretty simple, but that's the next level of freedom, where you want to cultivate that energy intentionally so that you can enjoy life, do what you're here to do, and have that reservoir of the energy. It's like battery, in a cell phone. If your battery is not charged, what can you do?
Exactly. So it's like mental, emotional, and physical health.
In this case, we are talking just the physical health. So you're talking of diet, you're talking about exercise. So you're taking care of, and we'll get to those other things that you talked about.
I got it.
In fact, that's the perfect segue to go to the third dimension.
Yes. So first was like to take care of your basic necessities and to earn money, and then the second is your body.
That's right. It's not just to earn money. So Zameen wasn't just to earn money, even though it's a part of that.
Financial
Freedom. The idea is to be free from the dependence on somebody else, or dependence on trading your time with money, even though I have done it for many years, and I had to do it knowing that I wasn't born with enough money. So I had to, for many years, exchange my time for money. And that actually gave me the idea that, okay, I need to figure out a way to bring in passive income, so that I can spend my time doing other things and not just spend all my time just trying to earn money. So
Yes.
it's not bad. Earning money is not bad, but the whole idea is to get that freedom of time and place, and so getting your time back. It's the biggest currency we have, is our time. It's limited. So how do you free up your time? And that's why financial freedom is important.
Financial freedom, and then body.
That's urja, so that you have the
Urja
energy
is
to
the
fulfill.
Energy. So is physical health.
That's right.
Physical.
So financial, physical. Third one is called dhyan, and dhyan is about emotional realm. So financial, physical, then comes the emotional. And the thing here, Sadhana, is these three things are the horizontal. So horizontal life means what's visible, what's you can touch or feel. So you can literally touch the material things, the house, the clothes. You can touch your body, you can feel the energy, you can feel your emotions. So this is the material realm, the gross, the what everybody around us. If you say, hey, money, yeah, people know what money is. They know it's a reality. So we'll get to the unknown, the mystical realm in a bit. But these first three are in the material realm, which is a physical reality. Your body is a physical reality. Your bank balance, the money is a physical reality. Your emotions, everybody can feel. Even if I ask anybody walking on the road, how do you feel today? People might describe feelings as fear or greed or excitement, the emotions, right?
Yes.
So emotional freedom. You know, how many do your own emotions stop you? And it's a very obvious yes. For a lot of people say
they
that
get trapped emotionally.
Emotionally, I've been in a phase of life which is described in my chapter 1.
They become very miserable when they get.
It's sad because you know you get frozen and your emotions take over and you become a slave of your own emotions, where you literally get frozen by your own perception of your problems and the suffering, that you cannot really get into motion.
So these are like three dimensions which are very important in any, I guess, like any average person, anybody can understand that, this is like earning money or taking care of your body and your emotions. What is fourth dimension?
Yeah. So the fourth dimension is what we call relational. So you take care of financial, you take care of physical, then you take care of your emotional, but there's relational. Relational is your community or social, or the feeling of love. It could be with yourself, or the importance of love in your life. And love could be at various levels, which we describe in detail in the book. But this whole fourth dimension is the dimension of love and fulfillment. So it goes beyond just romantic love and beyond just earning money or being healthy. It goes at a much deeper level of the soul level, where you can relate to to yourself and your mission at a very deep level.
What is the exact word you're using for fourth dimension?
It's again a Sanskrit term called Ananda.
Ananda.
So, yeah, so in
like
English you can say Ananda, but Ananda is really deep at the deepest level. It means bliss. So and that's the whole idea of Zoda, is to get into the dimension of alchemy, or the dimension of miraculous, where bliss is an outcome. So the currency of Ananda is bliss. But how do you get bliss is what we do in the trainings. How do you get to that dimension where things just start happening? So even though we talk about bliss in this dimension, but it's also that you got to take care of financial and physical and emotional, all those freedoms to get to bliss. But there is more. Now we have to get into the mystical realm.
Yes. So we will discuss it further in
Yes. Now let's get to the fifth dimension then.
And this is also like Ananda, right? This is very important aspect of life, which a lot of time we don't pay attention to, because we just get like go into round circle for the routine life, survival of life.
Absolutely. So, you nailed it, Sadhana, because people think that if I get money, I'll be blissful. I have friends who are multimillionaires, and yet they're miserable. Why? Because of different things. Even maybe the physical element is missing, or the emotionally they're a wreck. And I say that with all the humility and respect. I've been there myself, and I know how it feels like. So I have great respect. I'm not trying to bring it down that it's a bad thing necessarily, but unless you take care of your own emotions and your physical dimension and your financial dimension, you really cannot be 100% blissful. So there are degrees, obviously, so you'll have little bliss, but you will not feel fulfilled, or you may not feel there's meaning in life, you may not feel there is love in life. So so that's why we are trying to tap into all 7 dimensions to get to that 100% maximum possible bliss you can get in this life form.
Yes, and for joy and happiness in life, a lot of time people think in a way that, oh no, I can't be happy. Funny,
And I'm a living proof that it's
yeah.
possible. And that's like you said initially, that how did you figure this out? This is not by reading it from books, and not being through some some cult or
Therapy,
religion,
yeah.
or all that. This is through my own inspiration, meditation, and the guidance I got from the unseen, and certain things that happen in my life, and analyzing them, introspection and inspiration, that I came to build this framework. And it took me almost 3 decades to figure this whole thing out, even though now I look back and it looks very simple, but there's a lot behind it.
No, I'm sure. So what is our
Fifth.
fifth?
Yeah. So remember that there is a horizontal, the material realm, which were these 3 things: the financial, zameen, the physical, urja, and the dhyana, the emotional, which is at a horizontal human level, which you can feel, touch, see. Now let's get into the mystical realm.
So Ananda.
Ananda is in the middle. Ananda
Ananda
is
in the middle, okay.
is something that's not material nor spiritual. It's a soul level feeling.
It's
that
like fulfillment or celebration of your
Correct.
your
It's the zone.
success.
It's the
Yes.
zone you get into. That's why we call it Ananda, the bliss. That
bliss.
athletes experience, that top performers experience, a lot of spiritual people experience. I've seen you experience that many times through your prayers and your own work. You've been doing work on yourself for many years. So Sadhana, I appreciate you understanding this, and you've read the book multiple times. So let's talk about the mystical realm now. Okay, so the 5th element, Sadhana, is called Hausla. And that element is the intellectual. So remember, emotional and intellectual, 2 very different things. We tend to collapse the 2, but they're 2 very different things. One is the emotions we feel, and the other one is the intellectual, where we are able to get into and analyze, introspect, and really use a different part of the brain. And really we call it Hausla because despite all that's going on, situation, can you step out of it and actually analyze it, intellectualize it, and that's the philosophy. And here you got to do your work and create your own operating system. So this Hausla is about the values and principles, or your inner operating system that you have to write yourself. So I'll give you an example. We all grow up with certain beliefs. We all grow up with certain values, cultural or whatever, and they are written on our inner being through the society, through the culture we are brought up into, and we have no control over it because you're kids. So whatever you're told or whatever you read, listen in the movies, that all is getting stored in your unconscious, and you start believing that's your identity. So if you ask any intellectual person, hey, who are you? Then that person is intellectual enough to tell you, okay, I'm not my body, I'm not my mind, I'm not my house, I'm not my job. But they will tell you, my identity is my values, my belief system, because you cannot take that away from me. And they're right. The whole point here is, are you a slave of your belief system, or can you even question some of the things that were told to you and you figured out through your life and through your own analysis, this doesn't make sense, I'm going to do it this way. And that's the power of this dimension, where you write your own operating system and you hold on to it as your anchor. Now that is the freedom, where you say, I'm not going to believe you just because you told me this is right, just because the collective is saying this is how it's done. And initially you don't have that analytical rigor inside you to figure that out, but I'm sure through meditation or introspection or through your own meditations, you can write your own operating code and say, I reject these things, they don't serve me, they are not true for me, maybe true for some other people. I'm not saying they are in themselves right or wrong, but you should have the freedom to write your own operating code. That is Hausla.
So that part you say like rebellious.
Yes, because you're rebelling against the collective. In many ways, people will call you an outlaw. People will say, oh, you're not following the norms, or you're not following what we are telling you, or what's written in certain texts. They will consider you a rebel. So, and it's not that you have to be rebellious. That's not the idea. The idea is you have the courage and the inner trust in your own spiritual practice, in your own self, to say these particular 4 or 5 things, whatever they might be in your life, and we can talk in detail some other time, they don't work for me. So it's about recreating your identity and then holding on to it. And it's a lifelong journey, because as you evolve, as your soul evolves, you'll start questioning many belief systems and many things that are collectively thought right, or the morally right, or this way right, or you have to wear this way, you have to conduct yourself this way. That's all those people will tell you, and they will consider you rebellious because you are having the courage to write your own inner operating system.
Yes, that's true. That not all of us, it's not that easy to have that kind of courage against the system, because
Yes.
because it's like very well established, and some of the situations, some of the things we do subconsciously, we don't even pay attention to.
Yeah, you're just like a conditioned mind
where our
you're
life
just
is going.
exactly, you react.
Yeah.
And I'm not suggesting that you be reckless and wage a war against, because you also live in United States, so we are lucky and fortunate to be living in a country where the freedom of speech, or freedom to follow your own way of life, is fully encouraged and supported by the law. But not in every part of the world people have the freedom to be rebellious like what we're talking about. So I'm really not suggesting the listeners or people who read my book to become an outlaw and get into trouble. So be intelligent. This is an inner thing I'm talking about. That's why it's a mystical realm. So you be watchful, be careful, and be sensitive to your surroundings, and take appropriate steps not to get into trouble unnecessarily and risk your life.
Yes.
So be intelligent about it.
And
Wait for the right time.
It's entirely for oneself.
Your inner bliss, to get into that zone.
Yeah, inner bliss.
Yeah,
yes,
that's why I say
exactly.
these whole things are important to get into that
But
zone.
I have one question in that. So who would decide what is right and what is wrong? I understand that Zoda says that there is no right and wrong, or do's or don'ts and all that, but who would decide? Because when we follow certain beliefs or certain system, we blindly have faith that we can go wrong, because the whole majority is going in that direction, so we can't go wrong. You know what I'm saying? Right?
Absolutely.
So here, when someone takes responsibility, who would decide what is right or what is wrong?
Great question, Sadhana, and I appreciate you asking this. Listen, it's not a blanket black or white answer. So it does Zoda. In the book itself, I do talk about certain things, like Zoda in itself, as a school of thought, as a no religion in itself, it does have certain beliefs. So when I was exposed and inspired for this work, clearly the message came that once you grow in awareness, certain things will automatically become a part of your nature. So if you become aware, you'll become very sensitive, number one. When you become more and more aware and more awake, then certain things you will not do. So for example, violence. I abhor violence. I abhor violence of any form, whether verbal or emotional or financial or physical or spiritual, of any sort. I will never impose my belief system on you. I have my own belief system, my own inner operating system. So there are generic seven things we believe in as Zodas, and they are listed on the website. You can go through it. Violence, standing against violence of any type is number one. You know, violence doesn't always mean physical, where you beat somebody up. Of course, it does mean that, includes that.
Could be like verbal abuse. as
Emotional,
well.
passive violence. You know, ridiculing other
yes.
people, not being sensitive with them, you know, just judging them. All that is a form of
imposing
violence.
your ideas on someone.
That's violence.
Expecting.
Yeah, that's why Zoda does not tell you what's right or wrong, because people have to cultivate their own awareness to a level where, you know, they can decide what is. But there are some general right and wrong that Zoda believes in, and there, as I said, there are 7 categories, and on the top is you know, violence. And what we believe in is in peace, in love. You know, another one, for example, I'm just giving another example, and then we don't have to get into all 7. Another one is inclusivity. You know, so, you know, diversity. We love diversity. We do not believe in marginalizing biases, racism, you know, boundaries. You know, boundaries are important, nations are needed,
yes.
but at a belief level, we are all inherently one. We may look different, we may talk different languages, we may have different cultural upbringings, but at the deepest level, humans are humans. They are bonded together. And I think we were having this conversation a bit earlier, that everyone inherently knows what's right and wrong, but their own conditioning or where they are in life or their circumstances may force them not to understand, or at that point they are not aware enough to figure out what's going on. But inherently, I think every human being who's an adult and, you know, is at a certain age does know what's right or wrong.
So what I understand, like awareness is the key for that.
Awareness
If
is the
if
key.
you're aware in any situation, then of course with your conscious you will take.
Yeah, and that's the
right
third one, that we believe in awareness, and there's a third one in those list of 7 things we believe in, right or wrong. We are against you know, any sort of what should I say, things that make you unconscious, whether it's habits or your belief systems or substance abuse or any addictions that for a longer period of time render you unconscious. So there are therapies and work that's involved in the trainings that can help you get out of those situations and raise the awareness level. And it's a journey.
Yes,
And it's a journey. You never get there. You become better and better until a day where the 7th, and we'll talk about it, the 7th realm. That's the 5th one.
Yes, and that's like yes, awareness.
Without awareness, you cannot
Without
really
awareness, yeah.
build your own operating
Right.
system, because everything.
It's just a small example, like if those who like to consume alcoholic beverages, if they are well aware that what kind of abuse they are doing to their body, then they will desist.
You know, to a certain level, yes. I mean, anything if taken in excess can cause harm. Now, if you're celebrating and you're not hurting anyone, you're not killing any plants, and it's to a certain extent you're celebrating life. Once in a while, I enjoy maybe at a certain time a glass of wine, but I won't get drunk. I won't take 50 cups of wine and knock myself out and become irresponsible and go drive after that.
Yes, so because you are well aware that if you would do this, it's not.
It's a part of celebration, not a part of,
Yes.
of trying to forget my miseries, because then I'm using it as a crutch. And that's actually, you are really bringing up all these 7 things we believe in, and that's one of the 7 where you get freedom from any types of crutches and take complete responsibility of your own life without depending on anything. At a certain point in time, when you raise your awareness level, you'll find that you yourself are actually in the way of your own fulfillment. So it's also that level of awareness where you figure out, hey, it's not just the others, but you are yourself getting in the way, and we can talk about that some other time.
So what would be the
6th.
6th?
So now we are talking of the mystical realm.
And how you name the 5th one?
The 5th was the Hausla. Hausla means courage.
Yes.
It's again a Sanskrit or Hindi word. Hausla,
And that's what we were talking
H-O-N-S-L-A.
about, the hosla.
That's what we were talking about.
And now we will talk about the sixth
Yeah,
dimension.
but you really
like
brought
that.
out some really good points, Sadhana,
Yes,
that
yes.
it's not just the courage, but also the awareness, so that
Awareness
you're
is
not
like-
creating a belief system that's coming from your social conditioning, but from a much deeper level, and for that you need awareness. So the sixth one is spiritual realm, and that's at the intuition level, and that's at the discovery of your purpose, where you raise your awareness to a level where you can figure out what's your purpose, what's your true original seed, what is that purpose that you came here for, why are you here, what's your mission. And that's so critical, because if you're not aware of who you are and what's your purpose, then everything
Purpose of
else
life.
will make you restless. You will know that you got the money, but there's something missing. You'll know you have the best relationship that you think is fun, and is gratifying you and satisfying your temptations, but you're still restless. There's something more, and that's is not true, because you don't know your purpose. So that's a spiritual realm totally, because you have to go in a very deep inner journey, and almost like tools like past life regression, or even very deep meditations, and there are many that we teach, which can take you on an inner journey, because nobody else can tell you. If somebody is telling you that's your purpose, run away as fast as you can, because not even I can tell you what's your purpose. I can go inside and say this is my purpose, and it's what was your purpose 20 years ago. It's always a growth, a journey. So if you will know the difference between temptation and a very deep inner longing. There are two sides of our heart. One is that is temptation, short term. Hey, this is what, and that comes out of your conditioned superficial thing. And the other side of the heart, the second part of the soul or heart, because when we say soul, people generally go here. The second part of your deepest purpose, or your heart or soul, is that deep inner longing that that's what you really want, really want.
Yeah,
And it
something
stays
comes,
with you.
from
It
your
keeps
heart.
coming up, and those are some of the pointers. There are more, but just right now we are talking in brief. That'll give you an idea of what your purpose is. That feeling will not go away, and nothing else from the material realm will satisfy it. It's a much deeper longing that only those who have touched it can tell you. So I can describe it and tell you, having figured out mine, what is it that I did to figure it out, and happy to share that in deeper levels.
And
that's dharma. That's called dharma,
Dharma.
because dharma is not something outside. It's not like the religion. Many times people who understand this term dharma think that dharma is religion. So I just want to clarify, in the context of our work, when we say dharma, it's your inner purpose. That's your dharma. What's my dharma? Dharma. There's the sixth in the mystical realm, which is the vertical realm. The first three were horizontal realm with the material life, and these other three, 5, 6, and 7, are in the mystical, the vertical realm. So that's dharma number 6.
Beautiful.
Thank you.
So, what about the purpose as like not the personally? If I'll think about myself, let's say my example, that what is purpose of my life, or what is purpose of a human being on earth? Is dharma also help that?
So great question again, Sadhana. So if there's a 7th, I want to distinguish between 6th and 7th. So the 7th, we'll get into 7th in a bit after this, which is the last one. But the 6th one talks more about your personal mission in life, your personal, and that may include also relational. So what's your purpose as it concerns the people in your life, whoever they are. Could be your family, could be your parents, could be your you are living in a society, right? So it's your dharma. You are at the center. If you can't figure yourself out, then everything else doesn't make any difference. So Zoda believes that it's critical, absolutely critical. Can't stress this enough. Everything else would fail if you can't figure out what your purpose is. Until then, who created Earth, or what's the purpose of this world, is all secondary if you don't know what your particular purpose is. And we believe that everybody has their unique purpose because it's a journey. So everybody is born at a different level of frequency or vibration from where they start their journey. So everybody's purpose has to start from where they were born and go further from there. Some might be behind in that journey. So you see, that's why everybody is very unique. There is no standardized answer here. There's no cookie cutter, this is everybody's purpose. No, you have a very unique purpose which you got to figure out, and we give you the tools
and
to
no
figure
one
it
else
out.
can tell you your purpose.
No one else can tell you. People don't know their own self, and they go around telling this is your purpose, that's your
So
purpose.
here is like,
run away from those people.
here is one question. Are you not talking about education, aptitude, and skill?
That is
That-
all in the first realm of, we are talking the financial
No, but
realm.
that is not, because a lot of time people, they can't figure out the purpose of their life. They think that this is like to be a doctor is my, to be a doctor or to be engineer or to I understand like this is your first zameen, but isn't that
Yeah.
like confusing with purpose?
There's no confusion.
and
It's
like,
actually a great question. I'm glad you
Yeah.
asked that, Sadhana. So you see, if you figure it out, the whole idea is of awareness. If you're a doctor, are you aware that that's your true passion? It could be, and to serve people, to serve humanity, and you're doing it as a physician. I have great respect for them. They're taking care of people. So if that's your passion, then that's your purpose. But those people who are miserable and they are doing it
And they
just
keep
as a
doing like-
livelihood, hey, do you want to go and have a brain surgery with that person?
No. Of course.
So the chances are anybody can tell whether you are totally in your game
Yes.
or not. You can see that, right? There are
Yes,
people who are
I-
doing their jobs as a job. They're totally disgusted with their own jobs and they're just doing it. And that's the majority of the people. They hate their jobs because that's not their true purpose.
Yes.
But if
and
your
yes.
true purpose is serving and you figured out that you can best serve people as a doctor, hey, that's great. You get 10 out of 10 from me on that. Or if engineering or fixing things or creating things, inventing things is your thing, and that's your deepest longing, wow, that's awesome.
I got it. I just wanted to make clear,
That's
'cause,
great.
like,
That's why I said it's
those
a
who
great
are
question.
who are listening to us, just wanted to make clear that there is a difference between purpose of life and choosing your profession. Yeah. Or sometimes in our culture, Indian culture or Asian culture, parents, they decide sometimes.
It happens. and-
Marriages also, arranged marriages.
They
and
decided.
arranged marriage and like the profession.
Nothing wrong with that. Again, case by case basis. I'm not saying that that's right or wrong, but yeah, unfortunately, in our society, and that's part of the social conditioning, that even the best meaning parents sometimes, and they do it with all the good intentions, without knowing that can actually harm the child. So, that's the whole idea of education. I think we need to really change that.
There
that
comes
kind
the
of
rebel
education.
part here. There comes
I'm
the
guilty
rebel.
of that actually, Sadhana, too, because I chose, as I mentioned in my first video, that I chose to go to an engineering school because I was subjected to peer pressure, and I didn't know that at that point in time. I just wasn't aware enough that I can do something else. Or maybe you can say you didn't have the courage at that time. Maybe yes. But so was the environment, and so was the conditioning, that I was a victim of that myself. So I know what I'm talking about, and I've gone through decades of misery which you might say, hey, how come you went through that? Because I've been through that. That's why I'm talking about it. I'm not talking this from a bookish knowledge, but through my own experience and inspiration, that we need to change this. And things are changing. Things are not as they were in the 80s when I was growing up.
Yeah, things are changing.
Things are changing for the good.
So, yeah.
And I'm just doing my bit to expand this awareness that even in other parts of the world, a lot has to be still done, so that the young people are not subjected to this kind of torture by all the well-meaning society, by all the well-meaning parents, by all the well-meaning cousins. But if you increase this awareness in the society, hopefully people can spread the word and they can become beacons of light in their own societies. So we believe in grassroots, bottoms up movement, where enough people around the world can then influence their families, can influence their communities, and they listen to this kind of thinking and hopefully understand what we are talking about here and influence their own local communities. We need help.
Our new generation is quite courageous.
Yes. But a lot of people are doing this for their own life, which is great. Of course, you have to start from your own life. And it's true that the more effort you put in your own life, the results are apparent and you will influence your surrounding. But we do need also ambassadors, teachers, trainers who can spread this word and show their own life as an example, as a role model, but also educate this in their local circles. And that's the whole idea. That's why I feel so thankful to you that you are taking this video, so this word can
we
go
are
around.
thankful to you. It's
I just wish
amazing.
I had done this earlier, but it's perfect timing actually in many ways. I had to go through the trials and tribulations of my own life to understand what I'm talking about now. So I can test these things in my own life before I start talking about it. But as I said, I'm not a trained psychologist or a therapist myself. I'm just like you or anybody else, just a regular guy who is talking out of inspiration and the guidance I got and my own life experiences.
Which is beautiful, and I'm sure it's going to help a lot of people. But now, I'm sure, the way I am curious about the seventh dimension, there are a lot of listeners. They are also
You really want to
curious
talk about the seventh
yes,
one?
sir, what is the seventh dimension? Because we cover everything in seven dimensions. So we're just curious about okay, so what would be the seventh dimension?
Seventh is the ultimate. When you look at the material realm, you think of things that you can touch, and money is at the rock bottom, and the highest on the spiritual realm, or the mystical realm, not the spiritual, but that vertical mystical realm, is that which is unknowable. You can use meditation to know your purpose, but then there is the source. What people call it as the ether, call it the matrix, call it God, call it Allah, call it Bhagwan, whatever you want to call in your own language. We all know and have felt the presence of that which is beyond the mind, which is beyond description, but is ever present at all times, the intelligent, the source of this whole thing, from where this whole thing began and manifested itself, of which we are all a part of. It runs through us, it runs through the plants, it runs through the animals, it runs through the insects. So no one is better or less than, they're all different, vibrating at different frequencies and having different faculties that we should learn to appreciate and respect and honor, and this is the transcendental. So the seventh one is called Om. Om is just a Sanskrit word that talks about the primordial, the source, that sound, Om, or Amin, that's all, in different languages saying the same thing, which is describing that primordial beyond the mind, which is ever present, ever growing, ever compassionate, ever listening, ever giving. All those 99 qualities, which we can talk about some other time, and that's the transcendental. And transcend means which goes beyond the realm of your mind, of your thinking, is the realm of no mind, where your mind cannot reach, which you cannot describe in words,
Yes.
but
So,
can know it through experience.
so I have a question now here. Um, just want to make sure, make clear to our listeners that this is not about any religion
It's not.
it's not a religious practice or a cult or sect. Or it's not about
I appreciate
any
your saying
religion.
that, Sadhana.
And
Good clarification. Yes. So when I
yes,
say Om, immediately people's mind may go into Hinduism or a particular country, India, from where
exactly.
this word originated. I just had to use the word because I know that language.
No,
But
but you use the 99 attributes also, which is the Quran.
okay.
So that's why I just wanted to make sure, like, make clear that
Thank you for
this,
telling me, but I'm not
well,
a student of any religion, whether it's Islam or
exactly.
Hinduism or any ism. Actually, I'm not part of any ism or
We're not
any
discussing any
religion.
religion here.
What I'm
That's
describing is that every religion talks about in their own ways and realms, and I had to use some word. You can describe. You can in my book I call it zero. That's the sign of that, and it's actually zero means it's a vacuum. You cannot figure it out, so you cannot put any like description of it. You can define the attributes, which are which I have read are 99 attributes, which very well cover a majority of the things, but it's really beyond
the
definitions.
characteristics.
Characters, but it's even beyond 99, to be honest.
Beyond 99, yes. But I'm sure, like, those who are listening, one question is popping up in my mind, um, which is very common question. What is your religion?
I don't have a religion. I
don't
don't
have a
belong to any religion. I've been inspired. I have great respect for all religions. All religions. I really think they're beautiful. My best friends are the most religious people who have understood the esoteric teachings of the religions. So I have great friends who are Jews. I have great friends who are Christians, and of course I was raised in India. But I'm not talking about the majority who believe in superficial exoteric. The rituals. Just rituals are not bad, but just being a part of rituals and not going to the depths of the message is a problem. And that's where radicalism, that's where unconscious behaviors, that's where lack of sensitivity. No religion and no truly religious person, Sadhana, can be violent.
And so were you born in a Hindu family?
I was born in a very progressive middle class family that wasn't particularly religious, but it was a Hindu family, just as you're probably born in some particular religion, like all of us. There are major religions, some are coming from different, but pretty much everyone is taken, as we say. But it's up to us to figure out what works for us or not. And I am a big believer of diving deeper and deeper and deeper and really figuring out the true meaning of life and why we are here, questioning everything, and which we talked about earlier in fifth and sixth realm. What's my purpose? And no religion can tell you what's your purpose. No priest can tell you. No middleman can tell you. You have to figure it out.
So what you are saying, you believe in the unseen, and it's entirely your personal experience and unseen. This knowledge is not coming from any particular religion.
Absolutely
or
not.
sect.
I actually
This is
know
all your inspiration.
my inspiration through my own experience.
Through
As
your
I
own
think we can
experience.
talk about in detail
We
some
just
of the
wanna
things
make
that
clear
happen.
that
Yeah, no, I appreciate that. None of these teachings are to talk about or spread the word of any particular religion or any culture. I believe in us being humans. The whole earth belongs to us, or we belong to this earth. We are on a journey, and there are much more beyond this life, and that's all the esoteric teachings that we teach in, as I said, there are 12 levels of the training. So this is the highest level where we talk about this life and afterlife.
Beyond.
And we are a part of a much larger play, and this we are only on a small journey, and much more is coming if we do it right.
So did you feel any connection with that source?
I know it. I just don't feel it, and I'm not just believing in it because everybody is, or most people think. I'm not coming from that point of view. I'm coming from the context of having experienced it, from benefiting from it, from tapping into it, and bringing it to my advantage, where it almost is supporting me and helping me in my
Giving you
day-to-day life,
guidance.
giving me guidance and giving me the faith and trust.
And
That
you feel that closer, that source is closer.
it's always
to you.
there.
Connection
It's a
always there.
constant feeling. It's a constant presence. So you're never away from it. It's not a switch on or off. It's always on.
Always there.
Always on.
You
It's just a
think-
matter of connecting to that level of vibration. If you read Tesla, who was a very famous scientist and a physicist, and he has talked about these things, the vibration and frequencies. So it's not just the field of religion. This is actually a scientific concept that we explore in our trainings. So that it's not just a mythological or what you call a religious realm. This is purely scientific. This is pure science, very mathematical in nature.
Where you feel the existence.
How do you connect to it?
How do you? Oh, okay. So energy,
Vibrations.
vibrations.
Everything, whether this table or this bottle or our body or this phone, everything is vibrating at different frequencies. So there is the highest, most subtle vibration that you can tap into, that you can connect your transmitter, or in this case receiver. Once you tune into it, then you're done. It's like a radio station. Can you tune to that finest frequency? And there are tools and methodologies that I discovered in the mystical schools I was part of, which are very, very secret and sacred and not just taught because people are not ready. But once you're ready, they come to you. And I was just lucky enough to get it. And now we are spreading the word and making it available to whoever is actually ready for it.
So you think that anyone could get connected to that source?
Everyone is born with that. It's not something that you have to create. You're born with that faculty. You just have
All
to.
you need to tune yourself.
You just tune it.
Yeah.
That's it.
And
That's the only difference. It's not a quantitative difference, a qualitative difference. That and the quality here. Let me clarify that. So the quality is that of awareness. Are you aware? Can you raise your awareness? Can you cultivate your awareness to a level where you can tune into that? If you are just focused on your conditioning and you're totally living an unaware life and an unconscious life, robotic and sleepwalking through life, then you cannot.
You cannot.
You're not open to it. It's there, always ready for you to tap into it.
Yeah.
And
Beautiful.
that's the realm of magical. So when you take care of these three physical material elements and these 3, 5, 6 and 7 that we talked about, Hausla,
Mystical.
Dharma and Om, the mystical, then you get into that zone of number 4, the Ananda, where is a zone of miraculous, where everything is possible and your mission gets actualized.
My question was like, were you born in what religion? Because I'm sure like those who are listening, they're also curious about your background, what religion you
I was
were
born in a Hindu family
Hindu
in
family,
India, but my parents weren't particularly religious. We, like all of us are taken, as we say, all the major religions. So pretty much everybody is born in some belief system, or some organized religion, or some kind of a belief system.
Did you practice any religion?
I did
your
not.
life?
I did
You
not.
did
Right
not.
from the beginning, my parents were very progressive, and they just happened to not follow any religion. But it doesn't mean that people who follow religion are necessarily bad. I just wasn't born in a particularly religious family, but I'm very religious in the sense that I do believe that all religions are saying the same thing, and their founders and prophets got inspiration, and they were able to transfer the truth, through their messages, but not everybody gets it. There are very deep esoteric teachings which are part of every religion. Some of my best friends come from some very nice religions, whether is the I've got very close friends who are Jews or Christians. We are living in this beautiful country where we come across all religions, and they are great because they have tapped into the deepest esoteric teachings. So yeah, to your question, I was born in a Hindu family, but it just
Never
wasn't.
practiced religion.
So I had to figure it all out myself.
Yes, but what you're saying is a core of any religion, because I have studied all religions, and this is a core of any religion where we say like faith, have faith.
Very important, yeah.
Connection with the source, that
Yes.
is faith.
Yes.
And
And-
this is you describing in your own words that
Yeah.
that this is faith, and you experience yourself that.
Yeah, I got trained in the school of hard knocks, through my life, and some major incidents in my life, major ups and downs, major failures, major successes. It was a life like this. It wasn't like this, but it was an upward graph because early on I got the guidance and was able to connect with the source itself, and was guided and inspired. And it took me many years, as I feel I'm very slow. It took me so many years to figure it out. But the journey is continuing. It's not like I've arrived or anything.
Did you feel from your childhood that there is a guidance, invisible,
No.
some source?
So no, I wasn't like this, sadhana, from childhood. A major incident happened, in my early years of life. Must have been around 20 or so, where I was lucky enough to get connected to the source. And now, I teach some of those methods, that can accelerate your journey, and you don't have to go through all the trials and tribulations and failures and ups and downs I had to go through, and really cut short your journey and get connected to the source through some of the methods
And
I
you
teach.
provide tools for that too.
Yeah, so there are tools. There's not one
Meditations.
tool, but there is one tool that I learned from that, the mystical school, which over the years helped me. But there are many, there are different levels of that method that can actually cut short your journey, and you don't have to go through a major heartbreak or a major incident or something, or some apple falling on your head or a rock falling in your head to get connected to the source. It is just a matter of becoming aware and being open to the source, and tuning your receiver to that frequency, and you can get connected directly. You don't need a middleman for that.
Beautiful.
Thank you.
Well, so 7 dimensions we cover, and of course we will talk about it more like other episodes.
Yeah.
For each dimension we will go into depth. of that.
Yeah, absolutely. So first step is get the book, go through it. Second thing is, listen to, we'll have a mastermind class for talking about each chapter. And then, that's the base camp, literally like the base camp before you, go on the hike to the 12 levels of training. So that's the base camp. Start with the book, read the book, listen to our discussions and subsequent discussions where we'll talk about each chapter, so that you understand the basics, the foundation. It's very, very important to lay the foundations and what we believe in, and learn some of the tools, and the basic concepts before you move into the higher levels of training.
Yes, but this is like a very good description of Zoda.
This is the right
7
understanding.
dimensions,
We say that the right knowledge, the right philosophy, the right understanding is very important, because there's just so much out there that can
Yeah.
confuse people. You go on YouTube and type the words transformation or how to be happy, and you can get all kind of answers from, have marijuana to, go drink this to, do a, handstand, or, many
Yes.
things, and it can confuse you. So we talk about the right understanding. So if you feel that you align to this thinking, then welcome to the base
Who
camp.
would say no for that? I don't understand. I don't see anyone to say no for these 7 dimensions.
Sadhana, the social conditioning is very deep, and many times people are not ready for this. So it's not that who would say no, it's just that are you at the right stage of your awareness? Are you searching If you're not searching, this will sound as noise to you. But if you're searching and you're hurting and you really are seeking for the truth, then some of this
Yes,
may
benefit
align with your
them,
thinking, may sound reasonable to you. And that's what I'm looking for, the people who are ready for this.
Yes, and then the teaching itself, Zoda teaching itself, 7 dimension itself, is transformation. So,
I believe
so we
so.
don't have to say that you birth of a new man or new woman or transform yourself, but just practice Zoda teachings and 7 dimensions, and you will reach there. It's like a path and journey.
Yeah, so what I can promise you is that if you just do this base level training and just understand this in itself will stop the leakage, will stop the harm, it will stop the exploitation, will stop the what's going away from you, what you're losing. So at least first thing is put a stop to it. And second thing, it will help you cleanse and heal a little bit through this training. After that, we can work on building the awareness, building everything else. The very first thing, as I say, is stop the leakage, stop the harm, stop
And take
the suffering.
responsibility.
Yes, absolutely.
Wake up and take responsibility.
Without responsibility, nothing will happen. You got to take the responsibility, yes, for your own transformation, yes. I cannot transform you. I cannot do it if you don't take the ownership of your own transformation.
Well, it was very, I guess, helpful and good definition of Zoda. Definitely we will go.
It's just a fly.
Yes.
No, thank you, Sadhana, for doing this. I
Yes,
thoroughly enjoyed it.
Thank you for coming in, and I hope this is itself a journey with you and your book. And then in your book, you beautifully you describe all 7 dimensions and the way you made it like fiction, very interesting. I found it very interesting.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
Yeah,
I'm glad
that
you
is
liked
true.
it.
Thank you for coming in.
Thank you, Sadhana.
Namaste.